of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
While the players gear up for the new season, make sure you gear up your snack game with Will Hawk Beef Jerky.
Okay, this jumbo bag of beef jerky should last the preseason.
Whoa. Will Hawk has more than just beef jerky. There's smoked sausage and pepperoni products, too.
Well, how about we have jerky for Eastern opponents and pepperoni sticks when we face the Western teams?
Now that sounds like a Will Hockey game plan.
Will Hawk Beef Jerky, because you don't win games with salad. Only available in Leduc.
God said, I need somebody to get up before dawn, milk cows, work all day in the fields, milk cows again, eat supper, go to town, and stay all night at a meeting at the school board. So God made a farmer.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. We are so thankful God made a farmer. For the month of September, it is our goal to feed 500 families. With every vehicle sold, we will feed a family of 4. So please help us reach our goal. Visit us online at northgategm.com.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Your all-access pass to the world of sports is Edmonton's only sports radio station.
From pre- and post-game hockey shows to in-depth analysis from your favorite commentators, the action never stops on Sports 1440.
Score an A-plus deal on 5G Ultra Home Internet from Explore. Switch to incredible internet speeds and get a $100 gift card for a limited time. Upgrade today at explore.ca.
Backed by popular demand, Folsom Prison Revisited. The story of one of the greatest concerts in history returns to the Jubilee Auditorium. November 22nd. Step back in time before, during, and after this iconic Johnny Cash performance. Featuring Devin Brain from $1 Million Quartet and an all-star band. You'll relive an event that changed the life of Johnny Cash and changed music forever. Tickets at Ticketmaster.ca and at the Jubilee box office. Brought to you by Stars and Stories Live.
At Wendy's, $4 gets you more than just a burger. It gets you a Dave's Single, made with a quarter pound of fresh, never frozen Canadian beef. All for just $4 at participating Wendy's. Taxes extra. But hurry, this deal ends October 20th.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
To the Lowdown. Today's show, Oilers acquire a goalie. Top up on men named Connor. Plus, MLB playoffs are wild in the streets. And if you look up the Wikipedia article at Imperial, Saskatchewan, you'll see 2 people listed as notables, Chris Knobloch and Connor Ingram. That's right. 6 degrees of Imperial, Saskatchewan. Thank you, Tarkus, for that. Lowdown brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Employee pricing continues on the entire lineup of the 2025 Sierra trucks. Details at wolfgmcbuick.com. Busy show. Many guests, many people popping in, lots of voices you're going to hear. It's the round table, but not everybody, because apparently people change their mind. That's okay, though. We're live on YouTube and Sports 1440, iHeartRadio online, sports1440.ca online, and Radio Player Canada as well. After the show, Apple and Spotify podcast. We tweeted out on X. We're on Twitter at Lowetide, at Declan Krueger, and JFenwick04 today. We'll be talking about the Otis trade, the Otis playing the Kraken, MLB playoffs, and of course, there'll be football because Declan's here. Okay, here comes the introductions. Oh, by the way, Matt Coma from NHL.com, Kevin McCurdy, and Daniel Nugent-Bowman, all guests today, and we'll have declamations. It's a wild show, and it should be because there's lots going on. Here are the introductions. He got his haircut this week and went from Jesus Christ Superstar to young Sheldon. That's the difference. That probably got the biggest laugh I've ever had in the studio. Sam Wilness, everybody. Sam Wilness. Sam, how are you?
Bazinga. How are we doing today?
I like young Sheldon. He's a nice young man. And you did have like the long hair. How are you doing? Is this good for the ladies? Are they liking what you're doing?
They seem to like it, from
Okay.
what I can tell.
All right. Are you asking them? Because that's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. He's absolutely a sports encyclopedia, but his biggest rage moments on this show came from an off-the-cuff and very accurate comment about Brad Pitt as an actor and an absolute meltdown over the delays in Stranger Things episodes. Keep running up that hill, Josh Fenwick. Josh Fenwick, everybody.
Thanks for calling me a sports encyclopedia. That makes my heart feel warm.
I found out on earlier today. I said to my daughter, "What is this?" Stranger Things television show. And she said, "Oh, I love that show." I said, "Why?" She said it made Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush a hit again.
It's true. It did.
I did not know that. I love Kate Bush.
It's basically the entire theme song of like season 4, I think.
Okay. Well, she loved that season. She loves the show, and we all love Kate Bush. So it's good. All right. He is somehow managing over 100 hours a week of watching sports television and has a productive relationship with his girlfriend. I don't know if I'm impressed or jealous. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Declan Krueger. Declan Krueger, everybody. How you doing? I think I'm irritated.
I'm doing well.
Okay. You're doing
Yeah,
okay?
I'm doing well.
Did you have a nice day off?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I played a bunch of Madden. I almost went to the barber to shave my head. I had my shoes on. Then last second, I backed out.
Did you hear my voice saying, "Don't do it"?
No, you were not a factor in the slightest.
Wow.
It was all.
Grandpa didn't come
personal.
to mind. Eh?
Gramps didn't. No, not on this one.
All right. Well, what stopped you? Was it that you were hungry?
No, I think what stopped me was I was like, well, it was one of the conversations we had with the listeners. I was like, hey, a couple $1,000 for hair plugs ain't that bad. I got to just look into it a little. But here's the thing: I really do want to go bald.
But could we?
I think I would look like Josh Pate, and I'm sure most people here don't know who that is. But
what about a GoFundMe?
I don't know. I mean, it's donate your money to way better causes.
Well, I don't know. We all love you.
Yeah, no, that's what you could pay for it. I would happily take that. But if people are going to donate it to something
today.
worthwhile.
I do, and I do, and I do for them. And this is the thanks I get. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, the Oilers made a trade. I don't really know what to do with goaltenders because I think what I try to do is admit that there's a lot I don't know about them, but I understand that save percentage and especially 5-on-5 or even strength save percentage has exceptional value, and that if a goaltender can play at a level for 3 years in a row, then you have something. I never believed that Jesper Wallstedt was a Hall of Famer. He may be, but I never believed it because he hasn't proven it. And I believe that this young man they acquired today, Connor Ingram, is a really good bet as a small acquisition piece. As a waiver wire pickup, it hurts you because you've got Skinner and Pickard. Obviously, they're part of the team. Ingram isn't a clear upgrade, although many will tell you, and many really smart people, are Blue Bullet Brad called out to lunch. He called me, and I respectfully just pushed back on that, saying I don't think any of us truly knows. So bravado and anger and bold face type on Twitter doesn't really prove anything. We've got to see this young player play. He has started in the NHL, but so has Calvin Pickard, and Calvin Pickard isn't 79 years old. So let's see how it plays out. I think it was a very astute move by Stan Bowman. That's where I'm willing to go. What about you, Declan?
I listen. I like the move of the trade for future considerations, which we all kind of know doesn't really mean anything. So you get Utah to retain the salary instead of just picking them up.
They're doing
waivers.
a favor to the player.
Listen, I think I was pretty outspoken about not thinking Connor Ingram's the answer, and as is usually the case with the Oilers, if they make me eat crow, I'm more than happy to have that happen because I would love for him to come in and be a great goaltender and be a guy who, even if he doesn't take over the #1 job, which I don't think any of us expect him to do, obviously, since he's in Baco, but even if he pushes skins or even if he's a quality backup, I would be happy to have that. I just don't see it. Like his last year in Utah, his numbers were so horrid. And I mean this with all the respect in the world. It's going to sound kind of crass and crude, and I don't mean it to at all. But he's someone who, has had mental health issues, and he's been in the player assistant program twice. Like that's something that also I think, factors in and you have to weigh. And again, I don't mean that as a knock to him in the slightest.
It's part of the resume.
But it's something that you think about. And listen, it was an astute move to get him and get them to retain salary. And if it's an upgrade, that's awesome. If it's someone who comes in and pushes these guys, that's awesome. If it's someone who helps you wins games, that's awesome. I just still don't know if I see it as the answer.
Well, also there's a reality to goaltending, and I'm going to use an example from a long time ago when the earth was green and there was more kind of animals than you've ever seen. Cats and rats and elephants as sure as you're born, but there never was a unicorn. Okay. So
did you just think of that, or is that a saying? Because that was
I made all that.
That was incredible.
No, I made it all up.
That was unbelievable.
Well, that's the way I am.
That was really good.
I'm a
That was your best 15 seconds of radio ever.
And I stole it from the Irish Rovers.
I knew it.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to tell you a story. So in, I don't know, whatever year, 1960, Punch Imlach is the coach and general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And he gets on a train. And he leaves Toronto and he takes the train all the way to Prince Albert, Alberta. Or Saskatchewan, sorry. Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. And he gets off the train and he signs a goaltender. Goaltender played in the AHL, a little bit in the NHL, was nothing special. Anybody could have had him for pocket change in the NHL. And his name was Johnny Bower. Johnny Bower led the Toronto Maple Leafs to several Stanley Cups in the 60s. He became legend, possibly the most beloved member of the Toronto Maple Leafs organization ever. And all it cost was a long damn train trip for Punch Imlach. And that's what goaltending is. If you get the right goalie in the right system with the right amount of confidence, you can have something special for a long time. And that might be Connor Ingram. So those who are saying, hey, this guy is something, then, take that into account. Put that on the ledger. That's on the positive side. Somebody's saying, well, he hasn't proven anything, and he's inconsistent like a lot of goaltenders. Well, put that on the negative side. Add it all up and do what the Oilers are doing, and they're just going to check him out. They're going to let it ride in Bakersfield. If he earns a call-up, then maybe he'll move up the ladder, and maybe someday he starts a playoff game and wins it for the Edmonton Oilers, and maybe he becomes the modern Johnny Bower. And that could all happen. But based on the paper that we see and the resume that he has, that is unlikely based on what we know. It doesn't mean he can't do it. But what I do take issue with is when people hammer people online because they don't agree with their take on this particular player or Jasper Wallstead or any other player. Even if you're a brilliant assessor of talent, you have to allow for luck. And if you don't allow for luck, if it's all everybody's a dumbass except me, then I do think, with respect, you lose credibility. Just my opinion. Oilers Kraken tonight. Have we seen the lineups yet? Has anybody like Josh, who's over there making sure that I look brilliant, looked online to see if we've seen the lineups yet? Crickets.
I don't know if that was Josh's cue. I have not seen any lineups. I haven't been on Daily Faceoff. I haven't been checking with Tony or Bob or Jason or anything. But
just because you're on the show doesn't mean you have to be a part of it. I
understand.
Well,
there's so much going. Let me take a look here.
Just hoping for some help from my buddies. Crickets.
Wait.
Nothing so far. Not that I've seen.
Has Brar sent anything out? All right.
Nothing.
So we don't know yet. That's okay. This is what I'd like to see. I'd like to see Leon and McDavid as on their own separate lines at center. And I'd like to see Nuge as the third line center. I don't think we will, but I'd like to see that. Here's the problem, and I wrote about it today on my blog. I also wrote about the Athletic and Nugent Hopkins as the second line center and how I think that Matt Savoy is going to be a factor no matter what happens with Ike Howard. Savoy's going to be a factor on a skill line by the end of the year. He's just got too much talent. I think that when we're looking at this team, we have to be realistic about the following. And nobody likes it, and you'll all be mad at me, but it's true. The Oilers don't have a scoring winger. They had one in Zach Hyman. He's hurt, and he's got a wrist injury, and we don't know if he can score 10 goals, let alone 40. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has never been a pure scorer, and he's playing center now. Leon Draisaitl is a center. Matt Savoy and Ike Howard are not proven in the NHL. I love Andrew Mangiapane and Trent Frederick, but they're not proven 25, 30 goal scorers in the National Hockey League. So as much as I don't like that Chris Knobloch has Draisaitl and McDavid together on a line, I get it. I understand. And I don't mind that Mangiapane and Ike Howard get the minutes with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. But at some level, everybody has to look at this realistically. If you're hammering the coach about not having enough scoring lines, it's because he doesn't have enough wingers. In fact, they have so few wingers, they've got to move Leon from center to wing. That's my speech for the day, gentlemen.
The one I was going to push back with was Mangiapane. Like, listen, I know he's only had the one. He's actually only had one 20-goal season the year he scored 35.
Yeah, I love him as a player.
But I was going to push, like, he is, I would say, outside of Zach Hyman, he is the scoring winger. Like, that's his archetype on this team.
Well, yeah, and I will buy into that, but I still think that Ike Howard and Matt Savoy are the future. And I think the sooner you give him the shot, the better off you are.
I would agree with that. I still revert back to what I was saying. Like, I just think there's so much riding on these two young guys. Like, and the
coach is trying to take the pressure off. By the way, may I just say, I am wearing my Nirvana hoodie, the green one, which is one of my favorite things I've ever worn. So comfortable. You are rocking a hoodie that is so damn good.
It's pretty cool, isn't it? It's from a pizza place here in Edmonton called Michelangelo's Pizza.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically like if you spend like $100 there, you get a free hoodie. So
you have 10 of those.
We spent $100 there once, got this free hoodie, and it's awesome. It's like lime green for anyone who's not watching on YouTube, but on the back, it's like, I think it's a picture of King Kong on the Statue of Liberty holding a piece of pizza.
It is. It's pretty awesome.
It's so awesome.
A couple of things there. I have a friend who wants to do a podcast with me, not about sports, unusually. And I told her I'll do it anytime, and I won't even take any of the profits. I just want a hoodie with the logo of the show on it. And we'll see if
that'd be awesome. I would love that. Can I have one for free?
I don't think so. We'd charge you. You know.
You would charge me, really?
Oh, well, we'd charge you cash money.
Probably more than others.
Oh, double.
Yeah.
And by the way, on my blog today, preseason Game 7, Oilers at Kraken, there's a photograph my daughter took yesterday morning at 5 a.m.-ish near our home. And it's a beautiful photograph. So I wanted to pass that along. And also tell you that I do have an article today on The Athletic about Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and the ideal line mates as they move forward. It's going to be hit and miss as the year goes on, but there are some options. And Chris Knobloch has to find a way for both Ike Howard and Matt Savoy to be skilled players. But guess what? That's a big old job. And so we've got to give them time and be a little bit patient. Okay. Major League Baseball. I swear to God, I love Major League Baseball. I spend too much time on it. I have an obsession with Major League Baseball. Don't tell anybody. And even with all the games that I watched during the year, and hell, boys, I watched a lot of games. Playoff baseball is better. October baseball is so damn good. And we saw it yesterday. Your Cincinnati Reds made an incredible comeback. 102-mile-an-hour fastball, 117 miles an hour hitting it out, Hunter Green to Shohei. That was an amazing ball game. You watch that ball game and you don't like baseball, there's something wrong with your brain part. And that was like that all day yesterday.
Playoff baseball is as electric as it gets. And like, I understand it's tough to follow a 162-game season, especially when
your team's 75 and 87.
Yeah, and only 6 teams make the playoffs, which I guess is the same as the NFL. But it's tough to follow for the entire season. But once playoff baseball rolls around, there is nothing like October baseball. Like, it's up there with the best playoffs in sports.
Yeah, it is. Brad says, you're a bigger baseball fan than I am, and I know you follow closely. I'm feeling more nervous about Boston than the Yankees. Your thoughts? Well, I like Boston's starters. They've got Crochet going. They had him going yesterday. He's like really good. But the Yankees have some good guys too. They've got Cam Schlittler, who will pitch, I think, Game 3. I like Rodon. I think they're both going to be tough. I think the Jays will beat whoever comes out of this. I don't think the Jays are going to win the World Series.
Ooh.
I don't. Actually, you know what?
It's the Reds' year.
Okay, I will tell you coming up my picks for the World Series, the winners of these series, the World Series, all on the way as part of Rumors. We are like drunk with guests. Matt Coma from NHL.com. Kevin McCurdy will join us at 1. Daniel Nugent-Bowman at 1:20, and then Declinations at 1:40. I don't really have to do anything, and I especially don't have to talk to you guys. Woohoo! That made you smile.
Yeah, it was good.
All right.
Sometimes I still don't know if I'm supposed to jump in or if you're going to continue on to the next part of your.
You know what?
bit.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
So I think it makes it tough for you because you're trying to read the old man's thoughts and he doesn't have them until they occur to him.
That's exactly what it is.
Right.
I think.
On the way, Rumors, Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business. And for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Weekly NFL giveaways, drink specials, huge screen TVs. The hits keep coming at First Round, Edmonton's NFL headquarters. Watch NFL football at First Round, and you could win a trip to your favorite NFL city for a regular season game next season. Catch NFL action Thursday nights, all day Sunday, starting with the Pro Bowl brunch from 10:30 to 2. Then Monday night with half-price boneless wings after 6 p.m. First Round, burgers, beer, sports. Downtown and Bourbon Street, West Edmonton Mall.
At Fountain Tire, get up to 25% off select tires, up to $125 off a set of 4 select Goodyear tires, and $50 off $150 service until October 18th. Restrictions apply. Book today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Looking for the perfect gift? Give the gift of great taste with a Loca Quality Market gift card. Redeemable at any Loca Quality Market or Loca operated restaurant. It's a treat for food lovers. Ready anytime. Grab yours today at loca.ca.
Diablo Boots sells only Canadian-made work and biker boots made by Canada West. No American or boots made in China, so no tariffs. All of Diablo's boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. Sizes 6 to 14 triple E. Buy quality, buy Canadian. And support Canada West and Diablo, the 2 best names in the boot business. So save on boots by Save on Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save on Foods. Buy Canadian. They're terrific.
Coming up on Icy Road Drivers, Canadians face the repercussions of an early frost. Will this be a bump in the road, bring a stop to their journey? Or did they get an early reminder that it was time to beat the rush and schedule an expert service appointment at their local Toyota dealer? Because it's time to swap those tires, get that oil checked, and store those summer tires until warm days return. Book your appointment today and ready your Toyota for the road ahead.
Farm, ranch, acreage, or lake lot. They're here to help at Bashaw Concrete Products. Family owned and operated for 60 years. They continue to provide the best products and service, period. Call now for your free quote on the highest quality ready mix and gravel, a new septic tank, or an outhouse pad and tank, plus precast cattle water pads, garage sumps, and more. Call 780-372-3854 for prompt delivery. Bashaw Concrete Products, 780-372-3854. BashawConcrete.com.
He's the only person to win an arm wrestling contest with the Philly Fanatic. The Lowdown with Lowetide, now on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Employee pricing continuous on the entire lineup at wolfgmcbuick.com. Baseball's on right now. There should be a rule that when baseball's on, Lowetide can take a powder. Just like I've seen Declan be on the show and watch March Madness all damn day.
Oh, yeah.
And nobody says boo.
It's the best. I think I'll probably take the Thursday and Friday this year off.
I think you should. And I love you on the show. Don't get me wrong. But
Not
think
here.
that there are some. No, it's not even that, because I think it's funny. We can work around it and laugh at you and mock at you,
Yeah.
and I love that more than anything, really. But I think that there are some things, like when the Eagles play in the Super Bowl, people always say, "Hey, come to our house, watch it with us," and I can't.
Oh, I agree. I can't do any Super Bowl parties.
I need to watch the game.
Yeah.
Like when the Oilers are in the final, I can't. I can be around Karen and the dog, but I'm not able to. Like people are going to say stuff like, "Hey, have you ever played Parcheesi?" And then I have to choke them because I don't care about Parcheesi. Do you understand?
You're preaching to the choir. I can't do Super Bowl parties with anybody, even like friends who are, devout sports fans, as am I. I still can't do it. I have to, maybe one person, but I have to watch the game.
Yes.
We do have the luxury in Canada. We don't really get the American commercials. Like, I couldn't imagine being in America and being in a group setting where 80% of them just want to watch the commercials. That would drive me mental.
Absolutely.
Here we don't have that really, which is nice.
If you like the commercials and the game, get a catheter, but watch it alone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, but here's the thing. If someone's just watching for the commercials, like anyone who's just watching for the commercials is going to a Super Bowl party because they're making it like a social event. They're not sitting by themselves watching the commercials.
Yeah.
So they can just YouTube it or find it on Twitter after.
But I can't, like when they made when they made that fourth down into a first down.
Yep.
Like I'll remember it forever, but I remember every frame in my brain.
You know a funny stat about the Eagles this year? They have the third least amount of offensive yards.
They're terrible, but they're also like
they just find a way. They're kind of the new Chiefs in the regard that they just find a way to win.
Well, I think they're going to get beaten 40-0 here because they're flying too close to the sun. They don't even try anymore.
I don't think the roster makeup would ever allow them to lose 40-0.
It's unbelievable. All right, the Oilers made a move today. It's a very astute move. I think everybody can agree with that. It doesn't matter if Connor Ingram plays 1 game, 5 games, no games. This is an upgrade on the number 3 goaltender in the system, and that often has impact in NHL games. And here's what's more. This is a guy who has started before. Now, I don't want to overrate that because Calvin Pickard started in games years ago too. Like he was the starter in Colorado. So I don't want to overstate that, but this is a guy who has the makings of a resume that may one day allow us to say, well, he was a starter earlier and he turned his game around and look at him now. But that said, I think this was the right play. They didn't pick up on waivers. By the way, Rachel Dory said all of this on our show on Monday.
Rachel Krychak.
Well, you know what? You're right.
She changed her Twitter handle and everything.
Look at me.
Yeah.
I'm not even saying the name right.
I know. I had to listen.
I'm telling you, one more shoe out the door now. Don't even get the names of our guests right.
She didn't get your name right for a little while. She kept, whenever she'd leave, she'd be like, thanks, Craig, or whatever she said.
It kept me humble.
Yeah.
It's all about being humble.
I finally texted her. I was like, hey, it's not his name. She's like, what?
Well, you know what? In fairness to her, I don't make a big deal of it. It's not a huge. I would rather have the guest on, and I get names wrong all the time. Do you know? And I would never tell Tyler to his face, but do you know that for like months when he was my what do you call that? The
producer.
Sam is right now.
Producer.
No, but he's on. What is he on right now?
The board.
No, but he's coming from
Practicum student.
He's on his practicum.
Yes.
So your M-Chuck's on his practicum. Every day I had to ask Awanak what his name was.
Yeah, I believe that.
Every day.
Then he became like arguably a bigger star than you.
But I don't think that's a doubt.
That
There's
had
a
to
major.
sting.
No.
Okay.
Listen, the world is changing in real time. It just is. And old people can't be front and center all the time.
Yeah. Yeah,
I celebrate young people having a great. Now I'm loving that I'm part of a group that includes Tyler, but I hope he flies, as high as he can go, which
but not
I expect
too close to the sun.
Well, no, I don't want him to like perish or anything.
Right.
But like I worked with Ron McLean. I had nothing to do with Ron McLean's success. I worked with Tyler Yaremchuk, and I also had nothing to do with his success.
Yeah,
he did it all himself. So I'm not going to claim credit for it, but I am proud to have worked with him.
It's very humble of you.
Well, I will say the same thing about you. I don't deserve the credit because most of the time I was, telling people that you'd screwed up.
Yeah.
Right.
I probably had.
No, I don't know. You're pretty, there's certain people, I'm not going to say who, but right away.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I think you looked at everyone in the room except me. So that one, that's okay.
No, you guys, everybody in this room has real talent.
But you know what?
And pretty much everybody I've ever worked with has real talent.
Now,
which makes it less, I know.
Forgive me for interrupt. Yeah, it does. It does detract a little bit. Did you read the rumors liner?
I haven't yet because I haven't started.
That's okay. I was just making sure. Time
for rumors. I already mentioned the Connor Ingram deal. Brought to you by Great Canadian Solar. We believe you should create your own electricity. Let's build a brighter, sustainable future. GreatCanadianSolar.com. Man, if you're doing it, Alberta is the right province to do it in. So we don't know the starting lineup tonight. We do know that Connor Ingram will be the starting goaltender for Bakersfield and could be more. It's just a matter of, how well he plays down there. That Bakersfield, I'm writing about it today. That Bakersfield Condors team is going to be hellaciously interesting. That's not really a good sentence, but I'm going with it. This year, they've got real talent down there, and that's even if Ike Howard and Matt Savoy stay the year.
I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I would imagine the answer is not much or pretty low, but how nervous do you think either Stu or Cal are feeling right now?
Not at all. I think that they're confident, like when you were boxing, did you care about the next bout?
No. You always thought about the one.
You're in the moment, right? So I think these guys are in the moment. They are, Stuart Skinner he's a confident guy, and, he's had, I know people don't want to hear it, but he's had a great deal of playoff success. And I mean, I think he's going to win a Stanley Cup playing goal as a starter for the Edmonton Oilers.
I could see it. I don't know if I'd outwardly predict it, but I could see it.
Many people don't agree with me, and that's fine.
It's not that I disagree.
All I ask for is respect my opinion, and calling me names online doesn't do any good. I'm old. I've been called names by people that I've married. So it doesn't make a lot of difference.
If you're gonna call Lowetide a name, grow up, come to the station, text me. I'll let you in the door, and you can say it to his face. Okay.
Bring your power saw.
Yeah.
No, I'm just teasing. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, sorry. It seemed like you were about to segue there, so I don't want to.
No, go.
Well, I was just going to say, speaking, this being the rumor segment and all, no longer a rumor. This is a fact. But Kirill Kaprizov, 8 years, $136 million with a $17 million AAV.
No,
that's something.
People keep saying to me, "Well, that changes the McDavid contract," and I don't think it does. I think he's going to sign shorter term, might be $16 million, but I don't think he's going to ask for $18 million for 3 years.
I always thought it was going to be 4 at 16.5. I think that a lot less now, not because of Kirill's contract, just because of the time. That's kind of past, and it's now October.
How old is Kirill?
He has got to be 27.
Yeah.
Let me look it up.
They're buying 27, 28, 29, 30, 31 those years. Oilers are buying 30 through 30 whatever.
Yeah, he's 28, so they're buying 28 through. And Kirill is a very, very good player. And I actually think Kirill has a game conducive to translating to when he's an older player.
Yeah, I do. I think the same about McDavid.
For sure, yeah.
Eric Johnson has announced his retirement. Had a very interesting career. And, he played a lot, and he was always a big defenseman who had a range of skills. And that is what you want if you're an NHL team. The return for Ingram is apparently nothing. Luke Hughes has signed a 7-year contract with the New Jersey Devils. So who's left now? McDavid and who else among players?
Makar, Panarin.
And then there's is Tomasino signed? Is somebody not signed? Maybe Nashville or Minnesota hasn't signed a guy. And I'm just wondering why it hasn't gotten done.
Eichel.
Yeah.
There's a few.
Yeah. By the way, Elliot Friedman says, I have no doubt teams will be looking hard for Michael DiPietro, the goaltender, on waivers. There'll be teams this week curious to see what the Bruins do. I think the Bruins will trade him. I think that's what they'll do because they're not going to get him through waivers. Somebody will have interest in trading for him. What are you writing down?
I am writing down a list of guests and their phone numbers for Sam for the next 3 segments.
So you're leaving us. Evangelista, that's the name. He has to be signed. Tompkins clears. We have a legit AHL tandem now, really. And what I like about it is it doesn't put any pressure on Samuel Johnson, although I think he's going to emerge as a real player for the Oilers moving forward in goal. I really like him. We'll see. I mean, honest to God, goaltending is voodoo. So always put a qualifier in there. I think, don't know, commas in there, this is going to be a good goaltender.
It really is the position that it honestly gets the most, it gets talked about the most for being the most up in the air. Like, it really is a and look at, like, I mean, how many times have we talked about it? Connor Hellebuck, the best goalie in the NHL. He can't do squat in the playoffs.
Yeah.
3 years in a row, complete disappearing act.
Which is like, and I know people get like, they're like, oh, that guy, but it's, we're watching right now in baseball. You know, people spend tons of hours figuring out who's going to win these games. And if you're betting baseball, you sure as hell have to have deep pockets because it can bite you in the ass all day, every day. Trust me on that one. You know, Garrett Crochet won yesterday, but he lost the previous 2 games to Cleveland on weird plays. And he almost lost the game yesterday on a weird play. Goes out, you know, dink, dunk, hits a base, flies up in the air. First baseman falls over a limb, pulls cartilage, and then 3-run score. And you're like, what the hell happened there? Baseball is a wonderful game, but it is ludicrous as a sport. By the way, Buster Posey said that he spoke to Bruce Bochy, who recently left as manager of the Texas Rangers, and told him he doesn't view him as a managerial candidate given the direction the team wants to go. They're not. The problem is if you take the Giants job, you have to assume that after you don't beat the Dodgers and the Padres for 3 years, you'll be out of a job. Mm-hmm. That's a tough division, man.
Which is the worst job in baseball right now? If you were
Colorado,
you don't think
every year?
Yeah, but you don't think you have a little bit of a leash as a manager, just knowing how horrible they're going to be, and you can keep selling like, "Hey,
Let me ask you
turning it around."
Are you a competitive guy?
Yeah.
So they've named you the manager of the Colorado Rockies baseball team.
Yep.
And you're going to lose 115 games every year
That's
until
a lot
they
of
fire you.
games.
Yeah, and you're okay with it?
Well, here's my thing. As a competitive guy, you'd be the guy who would think, I can make this not a 115 loss per season.
And then you meet the owner, and he says, you know, do anything you want, but this is my friend Larry. He plays first base. This is my friend Tim. He plays third base. And the pitching staff are all my children.
I pull an Art Howe and I say, I'm not going 15 rounds with you tonight. The lineup card is mine.
I don't think that happens.
You hired me to be the manager. The lineup card is mine.
That was a great movie.
Yeah.
Angels worse. Yeah, the Angels are worse, but they actually do have an idea. They draft college talent and they don't spend long percolating it in the minor leagues, and they bring them right to the show, and they've had some success with that. I think that the Angels are at least a team that you could – I like their pitching. You know, Colorado pitches in a park where their pitching goes to die. It's like bing, bong, oh, a double and a triple. Wow, I'm doing good. Nobody out, second and third. That's the way it works.
Yeah.
Or I guess it would be 1-0 and I'm in on third. 12:36. We have so many guests today. Did we plan this?
Oh, yeah.
How much planning goes into this show?
Very little, less than the other shows around here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that good or bad?
The planning between us is kind of like we had one conversation at the beginning of the show, what it's going to be like, and then a little ways down the road, it's like, we have to do this, we don't have to do this, and that's kind of what it is.
Well, I think that this is going to sound very arrogant, but I think we're fairly entertaining all by our lonesomes.
Well, I think people really, really love you, and they want to listen to you. Like, people would rather listen to you for 6 segments than they would 3 segments of you, 2 segments of you, 1 of me, and 3 of a guest.
This is not true. They'd all rather hear Eric Clapton play guitar.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. Matt Coma from NHL.com on the way. At 1 o'clock, it's Kevin McCurdy, 1:20, Daniel Nugent-Bowman, and Declinations coming up at 1:40. What have we got on Declinations?
It's Wednesday. So it's Declan CAA, and I'm very excited about it today. My top 12 this week is very similar to the AP polls, which probably isn't a good thing because the AP voters don't watch the games, and I do. So It makes me think I'm doing something wrong.
They drink a lot.
Well, I'll get into it during Declan CAA, but there is some real to be said. Like, they're beat reporters for the schools they cover. Like, they don't Like I sit down and I watch it for 14
sure.
hours.
No,
you know what I mean?
They're sort of like, they're sort of like involved in the game, but you're there.
Listen, it's when you have to spend, like an hour and a half pre-game and then a 4-hour game and then an hour and a half post-game, writing, interviewing, doing all this stuff. That's like 7 hours dedicated to one team. Like you just don't have, and you have to get your ballot in by the next day. You just don't have enough time to go cover the rest of the sport.
How many hours do you spend watching college football every week?
Probably 12. That's probably just Saturday. So if you mix in like a Friday night game, it probably gets up to like 15. But I'm not always watching those.
Is there a place we can send your girlfriend flowers?
I do. I give in a lot, man. I do.
Okay. On the way, Matt Cohen from NHL.com. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Mr. Rooter meets a ghost.
1 plunge, 2, and 3. A toilet clogged with a ghost? Man, I love plumbing. You're free now.
I will never find peace. The clog is fixed, yes, but I have never trusted the sump pump.
No problemo. I can fix that. Now go to the light, you little scamp.
Thank you, Mr. Rooter.
To resolve your unfinished plumbing business, trust one plumber, Mr. Rooter. Backed by popular demand, Folsom Prison Revisited. The story of one of the greatest concerts in history returns to the Jubilee Auditorium. November 22nd. Step back in time before, during, and after this iconic Johnny Cash performance, featuring Devin Brain from $1 Million Quartet and an all-star band. You'll relive an event that changed the life of Johnny Cash and changed music forever. Tickets at Ticketmaster.ca and at the Jubilee box office. Brought to you by Stars and Stories Live. Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Center. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience, but it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Center's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-471-7380 or visit EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
At Fountain Tire, get up to 25% off select tires, up to $125 off a set of 4 select Goodyear tires, and $50 off $150 service until October 18th. Restrictions apply. Book today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Did you know The Brick is proudly Canadian-owned and operated? We started right here in Canada over 50 years ago. Now, our 5,000 team members are proud to be your neighbor in more than 200 communities across Canada. And we support all Canadians with a growing selection of quality-made Canadian products and manufacturers. Nobody knows more about furnishing Canadian homes at the guaranteed lowest price than us. The Brick, saving you more.
Visit thebrick.com and use our store locator to find a Brick store near you.
Seriously, another door knocker? I really want to go solar, but these high-pressure tactics are exhausting.
And their prices are unbelievable. Before we do anything, let's call Great Canadian Solar.
There's a better way to go solar. Great Canadian Solar provides honest advice and fair pricing to save you from overpaying. They're easy to deal with and will never put pressure on you to buy. As a trusted local business for over 15 years, Great Canadian Solar will support you in your solar journey. Visit greatcanadiansolar.com.
He's the only person to win an arm wrestling contest with the Philly Fanatic. The Lowdown with Lowetide, now on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Employee pricing continues on the entire lineup of 2025 Sierra trucks. Details at wolfgmcbuick.com. Joined now by Matt Coma from NHL.com. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I had we got a crack research staff here, and just before we hit the air, Josh said to me, "Hey, is he married to Hillary Duff?" And we figured out it wasn't you.
No, it is not. It is not I. I get that a lot, though.
Do you really? So you've never been tempted to roll with it? You know, like you're in Cancun and you're thinking, man, maybe I can get some free drinks. You haven't rolled with that?
I'm not gonna lie, it's crossed my mind a couple times, but I've never pulled the trigger on it. So.
Well, that makes you a person of great integrity, and we appreciate that. I have to say, I don't know why I choose the word integrity, but I think Utah did something that was very classy today. It looks to me, based on how this deal went down, they did an enormous favor to Connor Ingram.
Yeah, absolutely. We were kind of a little shocked when Media Day came around a couple weeks ago, and General Manager Bill Armstrong told us that he and Ingram had conversations talking about potentially putting him on waivers and seeing if they could find a new home for him to go play somewhere. But it wasn't like it was a crass or cold move by Utah in any sense of the way. It was really like we had a conversation and they really want what's best for Connor. And they did put them on waivers last week. No one ended up picking him up. And then Edmonton ended up making the trade this morning. And it seems like it's a beneficial thing for both Connor and Utah, kind of just showing that they still support Connor and want him to take that next step in his career. Well, it's also a really good deal for Edmonton because goaltending has been an issue. And Ingram will obviously start in Bakersfield, but they didn't claim him because they like Calvin Pickard, their backup, and Stuart Skinner is under contract for one more year as the starter. But if they were looking for a really good spot for Ingram to land and possibly ascend up the depth chart, this would be it. Ingram, he's been up and down, but there's things on his resume that are quite solid. Yeah, absolutely. Like say, he had a great time in Arizona, did pretty well down there. He was the day one starter for the Utah Hockey Club last year in October. We're 2 weeks away from the home opener here in Utah. Last year, he was the starter for the first couple of months. Had an upper body injury that kind of sidelined him for a little bit, and then had the loss of his mother to cancer that kind of messed with his mind a little bit, and he admitted it to the fans here in Utah about that and went back into the assistance program. But he has shown over the past couple of years he is capable of being a top level NHL goalie. He was the number one here in Utah. If he can take that next step, get mentally sound, and that's what we all want for him, to be able to get back onto the ice and be in a great mental state back on the ice. He can ascend the depth chart. We've known the goaltending issues in Edmonton, and he could be that 1B or 1A starter if he gets his mind right and gets back to playing well. Yeah, it's true. And I think it's an astute move for the Oilers, Stan Bowman, because they don't have $10 million to acquire a $10 million goaltender. But goalie is such a weird position in that you can find players who are maybe have gone through some experiences, be they struggling or personal issues or both. Ingram is like 28 years old. He's got a track record. He comes to a team that doesn't have a lot of cap room, but does have a lot of opportunity to raise up the depth chart. When we look at Ingram as a player, he had 2 straight seasons as either starter or backup with Arizona, 907 in 50 games in 23-24. A lot of the underlying numbers very positive there. From the point of view of what he's been able to accomplish so far, his career doesn't look completely out of sync with guys like Dwayne Rollison, who had great success here, or Tommy Salo or others. A little bit of a journeyman career, but sometimes goaltenders uniquely, I guess like Major League Baseball pitchers, can go from journeyman to spending 10 years in a place and becoming an all-time favorite. And that's exactly what could happen with Connor Ingram, too. It's just he's been in that position where he has that capability to be that long-term goaltender for a team. He has the capability to do it. We've seen it in those 2 years in Arizona. He had a 2.91 goals allowed average in that last year in Arizona before coming to Utah. He only played in 22 games or started 22 games for Utah before getting hurt. He was about 500 in that stint here in Utah. He's got the capabilities to be a pretty decent goaltender in this league. He just needs to get some more consistency and find that next step. And if he does, that could end up being a huge beneficial thing for Edmonton, with the goaltending things, if he finds that next level, that next step, he could be the future of this program, at least for the next couple of years.
Yeah, it's true, and especially because, and this is it's such a key part of the Edmonton Oilers because they need value contracts, and it doesn't matter where you get them, and especially if they can play an important, prominent spot like starting goaltender or play on the top two lines or top two pairings. That's a massive deal. So this is good news for the Edmonton Oilers. Let me ask you, because you're out there day by day following everything and making sure that you can golf is enough to stay alive. But I wonder about this next week or so. It seems to me like there's a lot of teams that are carrying more players than normal, and part of it might be waiver worries. Do you think we're going to see a lot of trades and or waiver pickups here, or am I just hoping beyond hope?
I'd be interested to see what happens in the waivers. I don't think anything's going to happen via trade or anything with Utah, but they do have a lot of assets that they need to either figure out where they're going to put them or just where everything goes, because especially you have a lot of young defensive prospects. Dmitry Simashev, Maverick Lamoureux are two guys that are fighting for roster spots in training camp right now. There's not a lot of spots. They brought in Nate Schmidt over the offseason from Florida, who's got a cup to his name. They're really excited about him. So there's no spot that's gone on that defensive line. You have T. Deginla, Ko Bodwin, and all of those forwards that are fighting for maybe one or two roster spots that maybe have to figure out things in that spot, or just kind of to figure out who's going to make this final roster and where they need to move people, because the waiver, like I say, some of these kids are going to be put on waivers, and there's a chance they could be picked up by somebody else. There's a lot of good talent that Utah has in that prospect pool, but they do need to decide what's going to happen over the next few weeks.
What are the expectations of the Mammoth this year? They're doing a lot of smart business. You can just tell the way they're doing it. They are building, and they've got a nice core, and they're building around it as they're able. But what would a successful season look like for the Utah Mammoth?
We asked them on media day what the expectations were to a lot of the players, and every one of them came back with the same thing. It's playoffs or bust this year for the Mammoth. They had a great season in their inaugural year in Utah. Last year came out just a couple points shy of making that final wildcard spot in the Western Conference, and they believe they have the tools to get to that next level. There were maybe a couple of those overtime games that could have bounced their way to get them into the playoffs last year. They thought that they have the caliber of a team to make that playoff push this year. They signed J.J. Peterka in that trade over this offseason. They've got a lot of forward talent, as you mentioned. We got Logan Cooley, Dylan Gunther, Clayton Keller, all these guys that are in the prime of or either young or in the prime of their careers that could really make that jump forward. Good defensemen. They have their goaltenders now set. With Ingram now being gone, it's now Karel Vejmelka and it's Vitek Vanacek that are going to be the 1A and 1Bs for Utah in net. And they believe they have the tools to make it to the playoffs this season in 2025-26.
Thanks so much for this. Appreciate it. Good luck this year, and we'll be talking to you.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
There you go. Matt Coma from NHL.com. So we confirmed that he's not. Who is it that we thought he might be married to?
Hillary Duff.
Okay. Right. I think Hillary Duff is the from the Duff family. It makes Duff beer, right? That's a joke, Sam. It's a joke. Waivers are big today, by the way. Many people on waivers. Sam Vajamo, Cale Clegg, and Jarrett Anderson Dolan from the Jets. Some interesting names there. Graham Clark from the Washington Capitals. Jacob Pelche from the Lightning. Lane Peterson, Philadelphia Flyers. He was with Bakersfield last year. Glenn Godden from the Kings. Logan Brown from the Kings. Martin Chromiak from the Kings. Nolan Foote from the Panthers. Mackenzie Entwistle from the Panthers. Nothing terribly interesting from the Red Wings. And the Bruins, Billy Sweeney. So this week there's going to be a lot of it, right? They want to get down. The AHL camps are opening. They have a very shortened preseason in the American Hockey League. It's not very long at all. And I can't wait, man. I can't. Do either of any of you people who are young and go out at night? So the answer is no. Do you watch the AHL hockey online, Sam?
I do not watch any AHL hockey.
Well, I do, and I have for several years now, and I will this year. And I have to say, I'm really looking forward to watching the Bakersfield Condors this year. They are going to be good.
Well, I even saw a text earlier today that now that we have Connor Ingram, we actually have a pretty decent AHL goalie tandem.
Yeah, it's true. And I like Samuel Johnson, who will be probably in Fort Wayne. But I like the young defense that they have. Bo Akey's going to be really good. Probably Alec Regula gets waived. I don't know if he's going to clear waivers. And he would be fun to watch down there. This Atro Lebanon fellow is just pure fire from defense. And then they've got a lot of interesting forwards. Szymanski alone is going to be fun to watch down there.
Absolutely.
So it's going to be a lot of fun. By the time your hair all grows back, they might be in the playoffs in Bakersfield.
Maybe.
Are you going to let it grow back, or what are you going to do?
Yeah, that's usually the case. So I get it cut, and then I let it grow back, and then once I'm kind of tired of it, I just cut it again.
This is what I do. I cut my hair short like I did recently, and then I go, God, it's like, I go over there, sit in a chair. And Marcel cuts my hair. She's a fabulous hairstylist. She's cut my hair for many years. She does a great job every time. So I have no complaints, but it's just laziness. Is it laziness for you, or are you a styling guy? Do you manscape?
So I'm not much of a manscaper, but I do kind of have it just for style. It's not that I'm lazy to go to a barber shop. It's more just like, oh yeah, no, this looks good on me.
Okay. So do you go in with a photograph?
No. I usually have.
Do you just say things like, I'd like to look like young Sheldon when I leave here?
No.
Okay.
So I usually just have measurements, and it's kind of just like, you know how everyone has a Subway order they get all the time? It's kind of like that.
Right. So I'm 5'7", 87 pounds, and my hair should be 6 inches from top of the head to the bottom.
Not like that. It's more just like 2 off the side, 2.5 off the top, something like that.
Dollar gas. Okay. All right. Well done. Not sure you know what manscape means, Lowetide, from Marky Mark. And also, you're really not going to mention that William Ladgington is on waivers, Lowetide? Well, I didn't. Wasn't Hillary Duff married to Mike Comrie? Cheers. Maybe. TMI, LT, TMI. I don't remember what did I say that was to TMI?
Not a clue.
I don't think I revealed anything revealing.
What was the question?
Who knows?
No, seriously, what was the question? Is it Hillary Duff, or is this about manscaping?
No, it's about Hillary Duff. She was Mike Comrie's.
Yeah, so Hillary Duff, I think we were just talking about it outside, has been married about 3 times. She dated a guy from
Are we passing judgment on her? Is that passing judgment on her?
I'm not passing judgment on her.
Okay.
I'm not passing judgment.
We don't want to do that.
Absolutely not. I love Hillary Duff.
Right.
Lizzie McGuire, part of my childhood. But yeah, no, you don't know what manscape means, obviously, either. I'll explain it to you when we go to break.
I have friends who manscape. It's what they do.
Why are we talking about that on air then?
I don't. Somebody mentioned it.
Well, that was nice.
Or maybe
of you to
maybe I mentioned it.
go
That's
on
right.
about that. However, Hillary Duff was married to a man named Matt Coma. It was just Coma with one M.
But it's not our Matt Coma.
No.
Right.
K instead of C for Coma. So for both of them. But our Matt Coma had 2 M's in his name.
Well, our Matt Coma went to a better school. I just heard the news. The Oilers can trade Skinner and go even cheaper on the goalies and gain about $2.5 million or $2 to $2.5 million in cap space. This is genius work from Dallas. Yes, I do, Gilly. Yeah. Manscaped means more than that, you jack-o'-lanterns. And I'm not going to get into cribbage terms today. I'm not going there. So don't even try. All you funny kids out there and your funniness. We're not going there. It's going to be a PG show all the way. Unless Sam goes off. All right. Coming up in hour number 2, it's young McCurdy. Kevin McCurdy is going to join us. We're going to talk to him about the deal. We're going to talk to him about the lineup tonight, what we'd like to see. Flu running through the team, so I'm not really sure who we're going to see. I suspect that's why we've got a delay in the lineup. And we'll also talk to Daniel Nugent-Bowman from The Athletic at 1:20. Declination's Declan CAA today at 1:40. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Time for an update with Sam.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Papa John's. Enjoy a taste of Hawaii with Papa John's Aloha Trio. Try the classic Hawaiian, super Hawaiian, or Hawaiian barbecue chicken pizzas for only $19.99 each at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app. Oilers have traded for Connor Ingram from the Utah Mammoth earlier today, with the Mammoths retaining $800,000 of Ingram's $1.5 million cap hit, with future considerations coming from the Oilers. Ingram has been assigned to the Bakersfield Condors by Edmonton. In other contract news, the Devils have reached an agreement with restricted free agent Luke Hughes with a 7-year, $63 million extension. Oilers preseason continuing tonight as they head to Seattle to take on the Kraken at 8 p.m. Some other games in the NHL sees the Canucks and the Flames hit the ice. The Avalanche facing off against the Golden Knights. The Penguins heading to Buffalo to take on the Sabres. MLB wildcard game continuing today as the Guardians and Tigers are currently going at it. That game tied at the moment at 1 apiece. Other games happening tonight as well. We have the Padres taking on the Cubs. And in the AL wildcard, you'll see the Red Sox and Yankees continuing their series, and the Reds and the Dodgers as well. In NFL news, the Cleveland Browns have benched Joe Flacco as they plan to start rookie quarterback Dylan Gabriel ahead of their game against the Minnesota Vikings, and Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels has been medically cleared and is set to be a full participant in today's practice. Daniels has missed the last 2 games with a sprained knee. Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll have Kevin McCurdy in talk about the current trade, and this has been Sam Wilness with your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
At Fountain Tire, get up to 25% off select tires, up to $125 off a set of 4 select Goodyear tires, and $50 off $150 service until October 18th. Restrictions apply. Book today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Start your day with a blast of sports. Kevin Carius, along with Brandon Douglas, brings the fire, the fun, and the fearless takes. Weekdays, 7 to 11. Text Kevin, 883-401-1440. Mornings with Sports 1440.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we believe that life shouldn't hurt. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't know that sometimes it really hurts. I mean, we've seen people at their worst moments in life, when they feel they have nowhere to turn, or at a time when they felt like their problem just wouldn't ever go away. We've also seen people who thought to themselves, it'll just go away on its own, or this is no big deal. I don't want to bother anyone about this. Don't know where to turn to, or think it's no big deal. Either way, we have the technology, techniques, and skills to help you get back to it, whatever your it may be. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
At Wendy's, $4 gets you more than just a burger. It gets you a Dave's Single, made with a 1/4 pound of fresh, never frozen Canadian beef. All for just $4 at participating Wendy's. Taxes extra. But hurry, this deal ends October 26th.
At Fountain Tire, get up to 25% off select tires, up to $125 off a set of 4 select Goodyear tires, and $50 off $150 service until October 18th. Restrictions apply. Book today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
That, my friends, is more than a jingle. It's the sound of local, the sound of a family company that isn't owned by some big corporation. Hi, it's Dennis from Weiss Johnson, and I'm proud of our commitment to remain local, providing personalized sales and service whenever you need us. Some people say, go big or go home. Not us. We'd rather keep on doing what we're doing, focused on what matters most. You, our valued customers. See what our family can do for your family at weiss-johnson.com.
high sticking to breaking down the middle. Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube. Brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Employee pricing continues on the entire lineup of 2025 Sierra trucks. Details at wolfgmcbuick.com. It's a little after 1 o'clock. And we have coming up at 1:20, Daniel Nugent Bowman missed his hit yesterday because we were off. He'll join us from the Athletic at 1:20. At 1:40, Declinations, talking Declan CAA at 1:40. Joined now by our friend Kevin McCurdy. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Ellen. How are you doing this week?
I'm good. I feel as though the smoke and the cooler temperatures and my trick knee are telling me fall is coming. Do you have the same feeling?
Yep, definitely here. And boy, do we have some stuff to talk about this week.
Man. So let's start with the trade. A lot of people said, well, you know what? Pick him up on waivers. They don't do that, but they do make a trade. He starts in the AHL. Connor Ingram has an interesting resume. What are your thoughts on Ingram as he heads to Bakersfield and the possibility of him supplanting one of the two goalies here in Edmonton?
Oh, I have several thoughts. The first is this is the tidiest bit of work by an Edmonton GM in a good while now. Getting the money retained for no outbound assets. That's just, man, I don't think that's a possible trade before now. Previous GMs would have traded, a pick or a low-level prospect and would have got half as much retention. So just tidy stuff from a purely organizational management, cap management side of things. I do like that they've got him now so that they can get him to Baco without having to pass him through waivers. I also like that the potential is there that if there's an injury or if he shows well in his initial showing in Bakersfield, that they have the opportunity to bring him up for up to 30 days or 10 games without passing him through waivers a second time if they want to give him a look in the bigs and see how he's looking on NHL ice against NHL teams. And honestly, as far as organizational risk goes, this is as low risk a move as they could possibly make. It's a slam dunk.
It's also true, and I talked about it at the beginning of the show. I'm old, so I've seen this happen a lot. But if you go back through NHL history, Johnny Bauer was playing in the AHL forever until the Leafs signed him. Eddie Jacquemin was a backup goalie and the trainer before the Rangers called him up. And that was back in the olden days of the original six, and I get that. But when you're fishing for talent, goaltending is one of the most uncertain positions, and you can get lightning in a bottle. And I mean, I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but this is a player who has some appeal, and the way they acquired him, including a low cap hit because of the retention, is just a beautiful bit of work. And even if it doesn't work out that he ends up playing in the NHL at all, this was a really nice piece of business. But the fact that it could, and it has in the past, NHL history has stories like this that turned out very good. I think is a really good. I think I will give a lot of attention, a lot of credit to Utah for sending him to a place where he has a chance to grow and to move up. But I think that this is, as you said, an astute move by Bowman and the Oilers.
Yeah, it's a fantastic move. Like the zero organizational risk, like literally none. In terms of expectations, like Blue Bullet Brad on Twitter has had a couple of posts about this morning and in the past. So in terms of goals against goals against per 100 expected goals against, since 22-23, Skinner is at 91.6 and Ingram is at 93.6, and Ingram had a horrendous season last year. He had a horrendous season personally. He lost his mother to cancer. He went through the NHLPA's program to deal with some mental health stuff, is my understanding. And then on top of that, he had an injury that was lingering as well. So not really the right circumstances for him to put out a performative year, and he still is, by those same measures, Calvin Pickard's at 101.9 goals per 100 expected goals. So kind of the wrong direction. If I think that tells me that organizationally, Ingram's going to make a strong push for that 1B position and could really push Skinner for the 1A.
It's also true that Skinner is in a contract year. And, I think even before you start estimating what the new cap is going to do, he was probably in the 5.5 range based on how much he's got 50 playoff games. You're going to have to pay that player. And there are pressure points all over the roster, but having inexpensive goaltending was something that Ken Holland used as a framework, as a foundation for his team. If the Oilers can, bring along Ingram in the minor leagues and then have him play in the NHL at some point this year and have him be an option for next year at less cost to the cap, that's certainly something to consider as well.
Well, he costs $150,000 more than Calvin Pickard, and I like Cal Pickard a lot as a player and as a room presence for sure. He is clearly loved by that team. This isn't any evidence of dislike or anything like that. The reality is that at times the goaltending has struggled for this organization. So having an extra little push that's available is a tool that we absolutely should have available to us. And then Bowman did a splendid job securing that today.
There's I'm not going to get into who's suggesting it, but there's a push, or at least an acknowledgement that Lucas Reichel is on the trade block in Chicago, and discussion about Bowman's past with Reichel and whether or not that's a fit. My concern about adding another forward at this point in time is there's enough of them, and enough young ones you want to give an opportunity to. But what's your take on the idea of bringing in a Reichel?
I think that Reichel's agent has 4 players with the Edmonton Oilers right now. I think Reichel is German, and I also think that Reichel was drafted by Stan Bowman. So in terms of potential fit with the Oilers, there's lots of reasons why he might be a fit. His cap hit is pretty reasonable. I think it's 1.2 or 1.3 million, something like that. And it'd just be a matter of what asset would have to go the other way, because at that point, I think you're almost certainly talking about better than a B prospect or a pick, or even potentially a lower roster player. So we'll see if that materializes. I think it's fair to call out too that Bob and Elliot Friedman also sort of said there wasn't really anything happening there. But things can change, and I think there's enough history with Bowman to say that I wouldn't imagine the door is completely shut. There's a few other names floating around as well, both in the bottom and the top 6.
I guess I feel like Reichel is a guy who's he's played pro hockey for several years now, and I would be hesitant to bring in somebody who could delay or alter the progress of Savoy and Ike Howard. So what's your thought on that? Do you think that if there's an opportunity there to bring a Reichel in, even if it means delaying the progress of either of those two, do you think that's wise, or do you think that might be, if you can acquire this player at a low cost and find a way to Bakersfield and have him do what they're doing with Ingram, that might be the better plan?
Well, I think that, to be fair, Reichel's 23, right? It's not like he's miles ahead in age compared to, Savoy and Ike Howard. They're both 21. I think that there's always room to make the roster younger. That's something that Connor has indicated that he was looking for. And I know that as a whole, they weren't very happy with the average age of this team last year. So I don't think it'll stunt their growth. I just think it will potentially force the team to make a move with a more senior member of the organization if they want to pull something like that off.
Do you think he's a player who has enough to play in the top 6 in Edmonton?
I haven't actually watched a lot of Lucas Reichel, to be completely honest with you. I will do a better job of paying attention to that going forward, especially while he's in, contention to put on the orange and blue. But I would say that based on his pedigree, there's every chance that he would be capable with a new change of scenery to play in the top six. But it's hard to know for sure.
I'm always interested in lines and pairings for these final games. Now, unfortunately, it looks like there's flu that's kind of running through the roster, and that may impact. There was, the thoughts of or talk of call-ups for tonight's game. All things being equal, I'm interested in your opinion on Savoy, who is like looking like a third line guy and a penalty killer vis-a-vis Howard, who looks like he's playing second line with Nuge. I'm of the opinion that may well be how things start, but Savoy has more range to his game, and I think he might end up being, especially if Draisaitl moves down, checks down to the second line, and Podkolzin plays on his line. I just think Savoy is a better fit. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think that there's an increasing chance that Ike Howard spends some time in the AHL this year. I don't know what internal politics apply there. I don't have any insight if there is, if some agreement was made with him when he signed his deal with the Oilers, so that obviously subject to change. But I can see a world where he plays, 10 games with us or something until Hyman's ready to go, and then he gets sent down to Bakersfield. I think Savoy is here for the year unless something, with his performance really demands that he be sent down. But I see Savoy as a more complete player. I was really impressed by him and Mangiapane the other night. I saw the game in person on the weekend, and even though the stat card didn't really show it, I was really impressed by their combined work ethic and their overall impact on the ice performance, I guess.
I'm going to ask Daniel Nugent-Bowman this question next as the first question, so I'll end our conversation with you on this one. Bowman said today that he doesn't have any expectations on McDavid signing a new contract before the season or after the season. He doesn't have any expectations either way. I think a lot of fans would feel like that's a tipping point and a lost opportunity, and then it is a matter of when and if this happens. Last time I checked in with you, you were pretty convinced that the contract would occur. Are you still in that mode where there's not a lot to worry about from the Oilers' end, in your opinion?
Yeah, I'm still not concerned. I wouldn't honestly be surprised to see the deal get done before opening night. Connor's talked a few times about, getting off to a good start, and what better way to get off to a good start than, fresh information that your captain's locked in for, another season or another 2 seasons or 3 seasons or 4 seasons or whatever. I feel like that could be potentially used as a push. And I just, I think there's other politics at play, and that's the reason that deal hasn't gotten done yet. Yeah, I'm still confident.
Maybe the morning of opening night, a contract announcement, and go out and flatten the opponent. That would be a pretty nice start.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying, right? Like the team harnesses that surge. I think that's there's always that opportunity, right?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. All right, thanks for this, sir. Appreciate it. You have a good day.
Yeah, have a good week, everyone.
There you go, Kevin McCurdy, who joins us weekly on the Lowdown, and great insight. I when he was talking about the trade, his words, I just felt like if Bruce were with us, he'd say the same thing. There's a logic and reason to the McCurdys, and they more than just the two gentlemen that I've had on the show as guests over the years from the McCurdy family have had an impact on hockey and analysis and how we look at the game. And that's one of the reasons I have Kevin on, is because I think he's a really great observer of the game, does not overreact, but is more than willing to call something good. And sometimes I think in our world today, there's a lack of that, and I appreciate his clarity and his viewpoint. On the way, Daniel Nugent-Bowman from The Athletic. We're going to get a view of what's going on with McDavid. We're going to talk about the trade and maybe a little bit about how opening night looks in terms of who's on the ice. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Mr. Rooter meets a ghost.
1 plunge, 2, and 3. A toilet clogged with a ghost? Man, I love plumbing. You're free now.
I will never find peace. The clog is fixed, yes, but I have never trusted the sump pump.
No problemo. I can fix that. Now go to the light, you little scamp.
Thank you, Mr. Rooter.
To resolve your unfinished plumbing business, trust one plumber, Mr. Rooter. Whoa, who turned off all the lights?
Experience the new charcoal menu at Booster Juice.
Charcoal menu?
Introducing the Eclipse Smoothie, Blackout Booster Mixer, and Midnight Booster Ball.
Where's that voice coming from?
Dark and delicious, made with activated charcoal.
Can we please turn the lights back on?
Sorry, I'm just excited about the new charcoal menu.
Wow, that is good.
Right?
Available now, only at Booster Juice.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke.
Don't let me interrupt you.
Okay.
Rep at a time. The Lowdown with Lowetide. Thanks for checking out Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Employee pricing continues at WolfGMCBuick.com. Major Leagues of Baseball, Cleveland, Detroit tied at 1, 2 on, nobody out in the 7th, the top of the 7th. Cleveland in a little bit of a spot of bother. I think Sabrowski from St. Albert is in the bullpen. He is warming up, whoever the lefty is, and he would face Riley Green, who would be the next batter here, coming up in a very tight game for Cleveland. They need this game against Detroit after losing to Scooball yesterday. Torkelson has a 1-0 count, and we'll keep you updated on that. We're joined now by our friend Daniel Nugent-Bowman at The Athletic. He doesn't care about baseball until the Jays are playing. Daniel, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks, Al. How are you doing today?
Good. I'm glad you're back. I miss you when you're gone. I will have to tell you that. You know, you're my conduit to all things.
This sounds like some kind of power ballad or something.
So we've got lots to talk about. First, there's a trade. Stan Bowman, young Kevin McCurdy said it's the tidiest piece of business he's seen in a while, and I think I agree with him. He gets a free player.
Yeah, or gave up nothing and got it down to the number that will allow him to keep him in the minor leagues for as long as need be without having any type of cap implications for the Oilers. I mean, that's as free a player as you can possibly get, other than costing the owner a little bit of money. Yeah, it's a great deal. I mean, it's at the worst case scenario, it's depth. At the best case scenario, you have a new starting goaltender for the Edmonton Oilers, and I don't think they're in any rush to have that happen. As we've talked about, I think there's a real commitment to Stuart Skinner in terms of having him work with Peter Aubry, the new goaltending coach, and giving him some runway here. They also, have a guy in Connor Ingram who hasn't played since March because he finished the year in the player assistance program and hasn't been in training camp very much, or if at all. And now we'll go to AHL Bakersfield to get up and running there. So they'll give him some time. Obviously give Calvin Pickard a little bit of a chance too. So at worst, you have 3 NHL goaltenders. And like I said, at best, you have a guy that, a couple of years ago in Arizona, was stopped 5 goals above replacement, almost the 910 save percentage. I think it was 907. That could very well be an upgrade on Stu Skinner. So for the price of nothing, I'd say that's some pretty good work. And there's a lot of angst when they didn't pick him up on waivers last weekend, and they obviously waited that out and got a good deal there for themselves. The Oilers did.
It's also true. The timing is really good. He is a player who has ability, been through some things, and but a couple of years ago he was real good for the desert team, and the Oilers are coming up on a contract for Skinner a year from now. I estimate he's at 2.6 now. I estimate it would be 5 or more. The man has 50 playoff games, and that's your comparables are going to be some impressive players entering that level of their careers. So this is, I'm not saying it's going to happen for a team that is very aware of the cost of all players and not necessarily cap, struck here a year from now, but they'll definitely have some players who are on no movement contracts still. The idea of having this player where he is and maybe coming along, I think it might be a tidy piece of business for this and next year. Is that fair?
Yeah, and I mean it also sets clears the deck for the ability to really make some evaluations on the goaltending and figure out what they want to do for next year, because you talked about Skinner being in a contract year, so is Calvin Pickard, and so is Connor Ingram. So, it might, one of them really pops and waits till the end of the year and they want to retain them. Yeah, it might cost them a little bit of money rather than locking somebody up now. But I think that's the way that you have to go. You have to see who they believe in of those 3, if any, and make the call at that point. And now each of those guys has some runway, has some ability to kind of stake a claim to the starting goaltending position. And yeah, 3 is better than 2. And specifically with Skinner and Ingram, 2 guys with some pretty solid upside is pretty good. So I think it's a tidy bit of business from the general manager, one of his better moves in his relatively short tenure here with the team.
Bowman talked about the Connor McDavid deal. They're having good conversations. He doesn't have expectations of a contract before the start of the season, yay or nay. But fans are nervous. So what's your take on the situation? We are seeing players now sign in other NHL cities, be they RFA or future UFAs. What's your feeling about McDavid as we head towards opening night?
Still waiting, right? It's guessing seems like a fool's errand. So what James Myrtle, my colleague, and I decided to do was ask agents what they would do, right?
Yeah.
What they would advise him to do. And he's a unicorn, right? Like he was asked today, Stan Bowman was about the Kirill Kaprizov contract, and if there are any kind of implications as to what that can mean for McDavid. And really the answer is no. Like, Connor McDavid's situation is completely different. And that's where some of those answers from the different agents came into play, that this just, something to the agent, a traditional agent thing, and say, you should get the most money, which in the league, which he would be certainly entitled to get. But there's also the thought of trying to build a winner around him. Should he take less? Should he take 2 years and try to, or a short-term deal rather, and try to reestablish the market in a couple of years as the cap continues to go up? Should he, then that would allow him to kind of see where the Oilers are at that time. Like, there's so many different kind of tentacles or offshoots to this. And there's lots to think about. I think, maybe McDavid's not thinking about all those things, but I think there are things to consider, at least if you're kind of looking at the league as a whole. So, in that vein, I would encourage people to read the piece, because there are some pretty interesting comments. And the one that really struck me was an agent talking about how McDavid and his group should look at hiring a group that would specializes in predictive analysis and seeing kind of where different teams around the league are headed in the next few years. He said, this is he compared McDavid signing to kind of what you would do with a Fortune 500 company, and it's not all that dissimilar to me, the way this agent laid it out. So. Anyway, there's no, I kind of rambled on and on here, but I would say, it's a fool's errand to kind of guess what McDavid's going to do. But, I think I do get the consternation from a lot of people, because it is a pretty big deal around here.
Daniel Nugent-Bowman, our guest from The Athletic on Sports 1440 and YouTube. 1-1 tie. The Guardians almost out of this jam. 0-2 now with 2 out. Men on first and third still in a 1-1 tie. So I'm going to ask you to play ceiling to floor with me on 2 players, Matt Savoy and Ike Howard. I view it as ceiling to floor for Savoy is either third line or second line. If he's on the third line, he's playing less 5-on-5, but also special teams, including penalty killing. And with Savoy, I think anywhere from the second line to the AHL. So it's a less of a ceiling to floor for Savoy, more margin for error for Howard, because I think he could start in Bakersfield. Do you agree with all those things?
Sorry, are we talking just about the start of the year, or what you expect for the course of the whole season?
Well, I think start and the course of the year.
Yeah, I think with Savoy, like, they're the same age, but he's got a full year more of pro experience, and he really made good on that time in Bakersfield last year with learning to kill penalties. He played a little bit of center, which is his natural position anyway. Scored, Head's offense was good. He played in all situations, got a lot of ice time, all that. He's more acclimated to the pro game, I would say, right now than Ike Howard is. And that kind of allows him to have success in different roles coming out of the gate. Like, Chris Knobloch's made it pretty clear that he wants to start these guys lower in the lineup and let them grow and all that. And I think Matt Savoy's going to have a better or easier time doing that, given that he's kind of been a bit more of a checker in the last year, is expected to be on the penalty kill and all that compared to Ike Howard. Now, again, I do expect Ike Howard to make the team. I mean, it's not set in stone. These last couple of games here could change things. But, we talked about him with Chris Knobloch last week, a couple of days ago, with the holiday yesterday. I'm thinking it's Monday. But he was pretty clear that he wants to give Ike Howard a chance on the power play. So if he's already thinking that way, I mean, he can't do that from Bakersfield. So I just think he might have a little trouble, Howard, if he's, I think there's the likelihood is strong of him starting low down in the lineup and maybe even the fourth line. And it's going to be tough for him to show his offensive punch with some combination of, Matthias Janmark or Noah Philp or Curtis Lazar, or some combination of that group, maybe even Kasperi Kapanen, I don't know. compared to, Savoy, if he's with Thomas Second and somebody like Adam Henrique. So, that's where I kind of see the kind of difference with those two players. I do think both should progress nicely as the season moves along here, and it's okay if they start a little bit slow. And it's okay if at some point they need to go to the minors. But I do think the ceiling is relatively the same. It's just the floor is going to be easier for Savoy to kind of adjust to and to kind of make positive contributions with than it would be, I think, for Ike Howard.
When Podkolzin gets back, I'm so interested in this because he played so well with Leon, and Savoy in a very small sample also did. Do you think there's any, how much time do you think Draisaitl and McDavid spend together? Sounds like they're going to start the year together. That doesn't mean, middle of the first period, it could change up, and we spent a long time talking about this stuff. But I'd like to see Podkolzin, Draisaitl, and Savoy together a little bit.
Yeah, I could see that. I really don't think, just based on covering this team for 7 years and people have followed this team longer than I have, I just don't see McDavid and Draisaitl staying together permanently, right? It's just not how this team is going to look. I just can't see it. Just also given that, Chris Knobloch, ever since he's been the coach, which is going up on 2 full years now, almost, he's made it pretty clear that he thinks the team's better with those two apart. So I think this is more in his view, of the way he looks at it, out of necessity with, not, trying to figure out some new players, not having Zach Hyman and kind of being a little unsure of what he has on the wings. And if you put McDavid and Draisaitl in the way he's described it, is he's got one solid line, regardless of whoever that winger is. And those other groups can kind of, he says, play to their identities, but also they get a little bit more ice time because it's not 2 main centers and 2 main lines taking up a lot of those times. So, okay, I take him at that, and we'll see how it goes. But again, I think those 2 guys are going to center different lines for more of the year than they are together, and then they're going to need some wingers. And naturally, I think Podkolzin is good with Draisaitl. We've seen that he was his most commonly used winger last year, and Matt Savoy. Although again, I don't think he's going to start there in the top 6. I think there's a real opportunity for him to be a nice complementary player and work his way up. So Podkolzin, Draisaitl, Savoy line, I think could be pretty nice at some point during the year. I'm not sure how quickly it's going to happen, but I think when the calendar turns past the first month of the year, maybe into November, maybe December, I think that's something that you could see and being a really useful mix for them.
Final question: does Tomasic make the team, and where?
Yeah, I think he does. I think he'll be at center. Although I wrote last week, I think, and I think we mentioned with you, the best spot in my eye would be on the wing in a scoring role to get his offense going. I don't think that's the way they're going to go. I think he's going to center the third line right now. Again, things can change. Sounds like he was sick and might not be playing tonight. We'll have to see about that. But I would say it would be really surprising for me, even though he is waivers exempt, to have them signed to the $1.2 million contract, recruit him, bring him over, and then start him in the minors when he's looked pretty decent during camp. I think, third line center is probably where you're going to see him start.
Thanks so much for this, Daniel. We'll talk to you next Tuesday.
All right, sounds good, Al.
There you go. Daniel Nugent-Bowman from The Athletic. And further to what he just said in regard to some of the Oilers not playing tonight, flu running through the room, forwards Viljami Marhala, James Hamblin, and Connor Clattenburg have been recalled from the Condors for tonight's game against Seattle, against the Kraken. So stay tuned for lineups. It's going to look a little different. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Lowdown with Lowetide, Sports 1440 and YouTube. For Wolf GMC Buick, employee pricing continues. WolfGMCBuick.com. 1-1 tie. Detroit and Cleveland in the 8th now, top of the 8th. And 1 Cobb for San Diego over Chicago early in that game. Time for Declinations, presented by Elks Nation. 2 weekly podcasts with Eddie Steele and Declan Krueger, breaking down the green and gold like no one can. The most in-depth double e-football coverage available on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcasts. Sir, are we heading to the NCAA Gridiron?
It's Wednesday, so we are.
All right. Are we going to do your top
Yeah,
whatever it is?
we're gonna give my top. You don't know the number. That's
15.
hilarious. Top 12 because 12 teams make the
7,
college football
9,
playoffs.
9.
Top 12, my group of 5 team. Talk about some of the games last weekend and then look ahead to this weekend's action. Not the best week in college football this week, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. So my top 12. You jumping out?
I have to exit stage left.
Exit stage left.
I'll be back in a minute.
Of course.
Not going to tell people what I can do, but I'm 63 years old. I can imagine what what I'm doing.
You get hungry. It's time for your oatmeal.
Here I go. Raisin Bran.
All right. Number 1, I have Ohio State. They beat Washington this week. Washington was a team that was 3-0. They had the second longest home winning streak in FBS at 22 straight games. They were a team that honestly should have been ranked. They would have been in my top 25. They weren't in the official top 25, but they were a good team. They were a vastly underrated team. And I think a lot of that is just those West Coast games. A lot of people aren't watching those games late. They're not watching Washington. But Washington was a good team. Like I said, with a 22-game home winning streak, Ohio State went in there, handled business, moved to 4-0. Texas hasn't looked great, and I'll talk about Texas a little bit, but Ohio State hasn't done anything to not be ranked the number 1 team. Like, they're taking care of business. They probably have the best defense in the country, or one of the top premier defenses in the country. And like I said, they beat Texas, albeit at home in a 14-7 game, when Texas was the number 1 team in the country. So I have Ohio State at number 1 still. At number 2, I have Oregon. This was a pretty easy choice for me. I think people could make the argument Oregon deserves to be number 1 after going into Penn State and beating Penn State in double overtime. By the way, if you bet with us on the declinations from last Friday, I gave my 5 bets of the weekend. We went 3-2. One of them was the Penn State Oregon over. It needed double overtime to hit, but it did hit. Ends with a walk-off interception for Oregon. Oregon is a team who's going to be right there. My thing with Oregon is, like, they're always going to be this team, and I cheer for them. So, like, they're always going to be this team that can be a top 2, top 3, top 5 ranked team during the regular season. But you wonder, like, are they that true blue blood elite status a la an Ohio State when it gets down to, the college football playoff? And obviously they only had 1 loss last year. They were 1-1 versus Ohio State, who ended up winning the national championship. But you wonder if that's kind of what this program is. But listen, Dan Lanning has got them in the right direction. I think they're very clearly the number 2 team in the country. This wasn't any debate for me. They come in at 5-0. At number 3, I have Miami. They had an off week. They dropped 1 spot for me. Miami, I mean, they've been the win against Notre Dame, a great win. They've looked great. Carson Beck has looked very good. They got a big game against Florida State this weekend, although Florida State just dropped that one to Virginia. I like what I've seen from Miami a lot. I like Mario Cristobal as a coach, always have. I like what Carson Beck is doing. He's writing off a lot of naysayers, and they got a big game, big spot this weekend. Number 4, I went with Oklahoma. I think you probably... 4 to 6, there were 3 teams I was kind of shuffling around between Ole Miss, Oklahoma, and Texas A&M. I went with Oklahoma at number 4 because I think that's a very good Michigan team, and they were able to beat them is impressive. Their win against Auburn when Auburn was undefeated and a top 25 team was impressive. Now, Auburn did just drop this past week to Texas A&M as well. And they had, like, John Mateer, their quarterback, when he was playing at a Heisman level. Now he's going to be out for a little bit of time here. I think it's going to be over a month, and that's going to hurt them. That Texas game now becomes a heck of a lot tougher, but I'm not ranking Oklahoma for what I think they're going to be. I'm ranking them for what they've done, and they've looked very impressive, even if I do think they may start to stack a couple losses here without their quarterback, who is going to be the Heisman favorite in John Mateer. Number 5, I do have Texas A&M. Texas A&M, I've really liked what I've seen from them. That Notre Dame win was a very good win. Like, I know Notre Dame is sitting there record-wise, and they're only a 2-2 team, and I know their defense has issues, but they're still a good team. I like Notre Dame, and Texas A&M beat them, and then the next week after that, they beat an Auburn team who, if I'm giving Oklahoma for beating that Auburn team, I have to give Texas A&M credit as well. So I have Texas A&M at number 5. At number 6, I have Ole Miss. They beat LSU this past weekend. LSU can't run the ball. Ole Miss comes in at number 4 in the official AP poll. I have them number 6 just because I think that LSU team was overrated. Like, I had dropped them each week. Last week I had them 10. The week before that I had them 6. The week before that I had them 4. The week before that I had them 2. So they just kept dropping because the results on the field, what we were seeing from that LSU team just wasn't that impressive. And while I still think it's a good win, because I do think LSU is a top, 25, top 15 team, I just don't think they were the number 4 team in the country that Ole Miss beat them and got credit for. So I have Ole Miss coming in at number 6. At number 7, I have Penn State. And if you wanted to rank them lower, I would understand that, because they haven't beat anybody, but they never do. James Franklin, I think, has moved to 2-21 versus top 5 or top 10 AP teams.
That's
like
awful.
Penn State, they have to fire James Franklin, and it'll probably get worse before it gets better, but he cannot win the big one, like, at all.
Do they have to fire him just because when you say his name, it reminds me of that "Hey, It's Franklin" song?
No, they have to fire him because of the results on the field. Like,
Okay.
2-21 versus, it's either AP top 5 or top 10 opponents. That is not good enough. They are the number 1 team you point to and just say, these guys are a bunch of losers who can't beat the big one. And that's what they are every season. He has the one game he has strapped to his chest is the 2016 win against Ohio State, when Ohio State was ranked number 2 and they were unranked. That's all he has going for him. And that was 9 years ago. Like, there were people calling for this team to finally get over the hump with their returning class and win the national championship, and they haven't done it. Now, listen, do I still think talent-wise they're a top 7 team in the country? Yes, that's why I have them there. But nothing about their resume, just like every other year, suggests they should be there. Number 8, I have Indiana at 5-0. Wildly impressive team. They beat Iowa. I don't know if anyone saw the clip, but basically Mendoza ran out the back of the end zone for a safety, even though he didn't have to, with time expiring, just to close out the game. But it did lead to Iowa covering the point spread. So investigate them for gambling. But Indiana's a really, really good team. They're gonna play Oregon, not this week, but the week after. I like what I've seen from them. I have them at number 8. Number 9, I have Texas. Similar to Penn State, like, there's no real reason to rank Texas 9 based on what we've seen from them on the field. They haven't looked great. This is kind of still based off of playing Ohio State in Ohio State tough, and what we think Arch Manning, the quarterback, can be. But there's not, like, they haven't done anything on the field to suggest they're the number 9 team in the country, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt because of their talent. At number 10, I have Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech is put themselves in a tremendous position to run away with the Big 12. I think they went out and they spent a bunch of money in the portal. They did what they had to do for a school with resources to compete in a league that's pretty up in the air in the Big 12. And they look great, and they look like they're going to run away with it. They're officially number 11. I have them number 10. At number 11, I have Alabama. Obviously they still have that Florida State loss at the beginning of the season, and people are going to say, like, it's pretty close to that Florida State loss. Like, how can you put Bama over Florida State? And it's like, well, they did lose to Florida State, but Florida State lost to Virginia, and Virginia lost to NC State, and NC State lost to Virginia Tech, and Virginia Tech lost to Old Dominion. So we can keep playing this game, till the cows come home. But the reality of college football is, bluntly, it is better to lose early than to lose late, because when you lose early, there's a chance to shore things up system-wise, shore things up game plan-wise. You go back to the drawing board. You make these adjustments. Like, if you lose your first game and then win the next 11 in league play, it's the sentiment, which I think is correct, is, wow, they righted the ship and they became a better team off of that loss. If you lose your last game of the season, there's something to be said for, obviously, quality of opposition plays into it, but there's some to be said for, you had all this time to prepare and shore things up and get the right players in place and systems in place, and then you lost. So it's a little unfair, but it is the blunt truth of college football. It's better to lose early than to lose late.
That's fair, though. You can see it with Notre Dame now.
Yeah,
right?
and Notre Dame's a funny one. They're obviously not in my top 12 at 2-2, but more and more I've been thinking, Like if Notre Dame goes 10-2, do they get into the college football playoff just because they're Notre Dame? And it's something to think about. It's a conversation.
I don't
have.
think it's fair. I don't think they should be just because they're famous.
Yeah, and this is the thing, because it is going to be those first 2 losses early, and they'll win 10 in a row. But none of those 10 wins will be good. And like if Texas A&M, who I'm high on, if they finish 8-4, all of a sudden you lost to an 8-4 team. Like it's
to me the problem with this is that even when they're like 2 losses early, Notre Dame is still in the conversation, and I don't know that they would be if they were.
Not Notre Dame.
Right.
And it's not a shoo-in if they win their 10 in a row, they're going to get in, because like I said, I mean, like that A&M loss might not end up being great, even though I think A&M's a good team. They won't have another good win. Like maybe USC will be a top 25 team. It'll be interesting to see. But Notre Dame offensively passes the eye test, and they would be favored on a neutral field against a lot of teams.
We can agree they've gotten into bowl games they didn't deserve because they're Notre Dame.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Right. As of some other schools. And then to finish out my top 12, I have Georgia. Georgia at 3-1. The Tennessee win, very good, but they lost to Bama, and I have Bama number 11. They lost at home. I'm not going to put them ahead of Bama. Obviously, I'm not going to put them higher than 12. Still think they're a good team. Still think they have a chance to win the SEC. And then my group of 5 team, Memphis at 5-0. Memphis, there are actually no group of 5 teams ranked right now. Funny enough, Memphis was the one. South Florida was the one who received the most votes of a group of 5 team. I like South Florida a lot, but Memphis undefeated. I want to credit the results on the field. I want to credit wins on the field more than I want to credit good losses. Right. Even though USF and Memphis will be a great game, I went with Memphis.
Also, Walking in Memphis is a great song.
Oh, one of the best.
Yeah.
Some of the games this past weekend, listen, we were absolutely spoiled. If you're a fan of college football, you were absolutely spoiled this past weekend by how good these games were. Like you saw the slate and you saw the teams that were going to be there, and it was everything you hoped it would be. Oregon, Penn State went from a snooze fest to a classic real quick. That one ends in double overtime. Oh my goodness, just hit my computer.
You get excited.
That was a great game. LSU Ole Miss. This was a game that was going to be a prove it game for both teams. Ole Miss went out there and they proved LSU could not run the ball. And while I do think LSU was overrated, that's a real quality win that Lane Kiffin, to his credit, sometimes gets, but sometimes doesn't. And this was huge for that program. Bama, Georgia was a great game. Bama wins that one 24-21. Kirby Smart's winning percentage against the rest of the FBS is like 89% or something. And then he's 1-7 versus Bama. Now, granted, one of those wins wasn't a national championship game, but he also lost in a national championship game, and he's 1-7. Georgia has a real Bama problem. Nick Saban's not there anymore. It's Kalen DeBoer. And Kalen DeBoer needed this one because there were a lot of people calling for his head. Bama goes out there and gets the win. Huge credit to them.
Do you have did you watch all those games after you got back from the
Yeah, I recorded them and then watched them.
What time did you get to bed?
A little bit earlier than I thought I would. I went to bed at about 1.
Oh, it's not bad. So you fast forwarded.
Yeah. It wasn't that bad. And then the other one I wanted to talk about, USC and Illinois. This just makes me think, how good is Indiana? Because USC was the 21 ranked team coming into the country in this one. They were 7.5 point favorites. Illinois was 23, had lost the week before 63-10 to Indiana. And then they go out there and they beat USC 34-32 in an incredible game. Just a great weekend of college football. This one, not as good matchup wise, but we are going to get Miami, Florida State, and we are going to get, how about this? Bama and Vandy, both teams ranked in the top 25. Vandy undefeated, and I think they've won all their games by a margin of 17 points. So 2 big games this weekend.
Interesting. When is is there a dull college football weekend?
This would be the one.
Okay.
Yeah, this would be the one. I'll have to look at the schedule. I think October 18th might not be great as well, but this would be the one that's not the best.
Right. But you still watch it.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Of course.
College football. If they had a college football Europe, same rules, would you watch it?
Well, that doesn't really make sense because there are no colleges in Europe that like have the.
If they created it.
Right. So like if it was Oxford versus Cambridge versus.
Or like Luxembourg U versus,
right. Yeah, I'd watch it, but it's like it would.
The University of France.
I'd watch it, but my expectations would be pretty low.
Because it's not America.
Yeah.
I have a friend who lived in Texas, and she told me that they would hold back kids for grade 1, so they'd be older, so that when they grew up and they could play college football, like at 22 when they arrived.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The college football rules a lot of America. I
Yeah,
think.
it does. Like people would be shocked at how much it does.
Yeah. You took all the time. Did you know that?
I wish I took more. 14 minutes isn't enough. I think I might start honestly doing just like an hour-long solo podcast about this stuff.
Well, you know what? We could promote it for you.
Yeah.
We're doing a hell of a job on that.
Just totally fund it myself.
Sure. Why not? Get a sponsor.
I do it for free.
Brought to you by my hat.
I do it for free.
Do you think that young Sam's getting irritated at us that we're not checking out?
Probably. It's probably time to go.
All
That's
right.
on you, though.
Yeah,
Don't
probably.
bring
is.
me into this.
Straight ahead, Jason Gregor. He'll have everything about the Oilers and MLB playoffs straight ahead. Thanks for tuning in.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Play Alberta. Play Alberta has a brand new app. Download it and get boosted odds on all the big games, plus play casino games. Grab lottery tickets and try some quick and easy instant games, all on your phone. PlayAlberta.ca. The Oilers have traded for Connor Ingram from the Utah Mammoth earlier today, with the Mammoth retaining $800,000 of Ingram's $1.95 million cap hit, with future considerations coming from the Oilers. Ingram has been assigned to the Bakersfield Condors by Edmonton. And the Devils have reached an agreement with restricted free agent Luke Hughes with a 7-year, $63 million contract. Oilers preseason continuing tonight as they head to Seattle to take on the Kraken at 8 p.m. Some other games in the NHL see the Canucks and the Flames hit the ice, the Avalanche facing off against the Golden Knights, and the Penguins heading to Buffalo to take on the Sabres. MLB wildcard games continuing today. Guardians and Tigers currently going at it, with the Guardians currently leading 2-1 at the top of the 8th. Cubs and Padres also going on, with San Diego leading 1-0 in the bottom of the 3rd. AL wildcard games will be getting underway later today, with the Red Sox and Yankees taking the field at 4 p.m. and the Dodgers and Reds continuing their series at 7 p.m. News from the NFL as the Cleveland Browns have benched Joe Flacco as they plan to start rookie quarterback Dylan Gabriel ahead of their game with the Minnesota Vikings. And Commanders quarterback Jalen Daniels has been medically cleared after suffering a knee injury in week 2 and is set to be a full participant in today's practice, with plans to play against the Chargers this Sunday. Coming up at the top of the hour, it's the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. And this has been your Sports 1440.